The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Now that the Olympics and Paralympics are over, we can return to normal programming. And normal programming tomorrow night is The 100 with Andy Lee. It'll be on at 8:40 after the block. He joins us now.
Andy.
Hello.
Sure, Nat. This is feeling different for you guys. You guys can get a word in. It's incredible. Nice.
We don't know what to say.
Exactly.
What are we going to do with all this time?
Just relax, breathe a little bit. Yeah, people will be wondering how they're a lot calmer as they arrive at work this morning across Perth. Not as manic. Yes. And I can view this as my audition to take Nathan's job.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, okay. Okay.
Do you want it? We'll take you. No
good.
worries. Yeah.
Good news. Well, there you go, Nath. If you are at home sick, monitoring this right now, it's pretty bad bedside manner from Nat just to give you the news that way.
You've got a decent resume, like, you know.
Yes, but my job was just laughing at the funny guy. So we're going to need another one of those.
Hey, Andy, I was talking to Nat about this before because on the promo it said the season return, and I was thinking, you're never out of season with the 100. I feel like do you actually have an off season?
I know. We do 2 seasons a year, but there is a short gap now between them. So I do like the fact that it says season return. It makes us feel like we're more of a stalwart than we are. Like they say season 7. Gosh, he must be going for nearly a decade. Nah, 2 seasons a year. But yeah, it's fun to be back.
And did you do an Olympic special or something as well? So
that's a good point now. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Between seasons.
Yes, that was between seasons. That was in the off season. But yes, back tomorrow night. Tom Gleeson's on, Sophie Monk, Mike Goldstein, and we're covering off topics such as secrets, how Australia responds to secrets and uses them, and also workmates. So you guys can look around at each other. I can throw a few questions at you if you like to get everyone warmed up for tomorrow night.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. And we'll just, when you say workmates, we'll all just think of Nathan.
Yes.
All right. This one is potentially a sad one, actually.
Oh.
What % of Australians are closer to a colleague than their own partner?
Oh, well, if everyone's looking at me at the moment. And I'm going to say you're lying because I'm the outlier. You reckon?
I would say it's high. I would say 42.
42? What are you going to say, Sean?
No, I'm with you, Nat. It's going to be high. Sorry, I didn't even think about that. No, I'm going to go with 37.
Sean wins that one, 23%.
Oh, they're all lying. There's a lot of people lying about that.
Well, maybe you guys just like each other more than everyone else in their workplaces.
No, it's not that.
It's barely enough to get over the person at home, so that's the difference.
This one, potentially linked, equally as juicy.
Mm-hmm.
What % of Australians know about a workmate's affair?
Oh. Why are you looking at me again now? I just feel it every time.
Because you're her closest workmate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and you're the only one with a partner.
God, I'm going to go lowballing now.
I think it's low.
2%.
I'll say 7.
26%.
Yeah, there is no way that more... there's more of that one than the previous question.
Yes, 26% of Aussies know about a workmate's affair. Now, people work obviously in...
That's 1 in 4.
Exactly, and office gossip.
Yeah.
Also, most affairs happen with a colleague.
A workmate,
That's a lot.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
And do you if you work with someone, Andy, we had this conversation last week, actually. I brought the topic up. Do you inform a spouse or someone you know?
No, I haven't told Zoe about Hamish's affair yet.
It's the elephant in the room, though.
Exactly. Gee, that's going to be a headline, unfortunately. Yeah, sorry, Ham. Sorry, Zoe. That's exactly the type of thing that gets me in trouble. All right, I'm going to quickly move on. Last one.
Yeah.
What % of Australians have stolen a workmate's lunch?
Oh, I'm going 32.
I'm going 60. I reckon somebody's been stealing my salad dressing out of the fridge.
Oh, no, it's got to be the total lunch, not a condiment. Do you want to adjust?
Oh, all right, I'll take it down to 47.
Sean, you happy with your original answer?
I think I said 32, I'm going with it.
You've got it, but it wasn't a great win, kind of It's 8% of Australians have stolen a workmate's lunch. So,
Whoa.
So
gee,
hang on. So the question was how many have admitted to stealing it, but how many have people reckon their lunch has been stolen? Because they're very different things.
Exactly. People reckon their lunch, but no, 8% of Aussies have stolen a workmate's lunch. It's the entire lunch. Lock up the fridge at Nova, it seems. You guys are thieves when it comes to cheeky treats.
Hey, Andy, I was just actually down the fridge while playing a couple of songs to you. And so on the front of the fridge, there's a couple of sections or
boxes of stickers.
Boxes of stickers, it says for people's own use or it's a communal use. So the stickers.
So we do have a lot of communal things here. The company does kick in for communal things. So there's that's a red sticker if it's communal, and it's a yellow sticker if it's private.
Oh, you have to put it on your own item when you put it in.
My salad dressing is private. It's clearly marked private. I've got stickers on the back, the front, and the top, and still people use it.
Why?
Andy?
Why are you making this salad dressing private?
No, because I brought it in. I brought it in.
That's
with
all
my
right.
own money.
It'd be $7.80 or something. Come on.
Like,
It's your little way
I know
to give
it's
back.
there when I need it. I use it every day. It's mine.
Jeepers.
We're getting tight around here, mate.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Oh, we don't all have big salad money dressing, Andy Lee.
You should see how many salad dressings Hamish and I have at work.
I know that in your new build, you've got a salad dressing room.
We're rolling kegs of salad dressing.
I did see a video of the family of diggers that are working on your building project.
Yes, I know. That just represents
That's a bit
money
over
pit,
the
doesn't
top,
it?
isn't it?
Yeah. Well, weirdly on that, and
so to be clear, there were 5 different diggers, right?
There were 5 different diggers at the house
At one time.
We hit rock straight away.
Oh.
And Bluestone Rock in Melbourne, and so in order to not fall behind on the build, which would ruin and cost you. Actually, they did the maths on it all. It cost you more money to fall behind on all the other trades that are lined up.
Yes.
They just had to bring in more diggers. They started with 1, and they ended up with 5 to get through the dig. So it hasn't been the greatest.
So this was just to put the foundations in. Is it? This is the very beginning of it.
I'm gonna make it sound like I know building, but it's something called piles, which is which I think is
you can't sit down.
a terrible medical situation. But piling, which is essentially you drill down big holes 8.5 meters deep. Fill them with concrete, and then that becomes pillars in your basement as you try to excavate. So it holds the earth in on either side, so the neighbours' houses don't end up
Great.
into the river.
So they're important. They're important. Yeah.
Hey, Andy, with the build, like we've spoken to you obviously a lot about it, but are you, because a lot of people, this happens to a lot of people, they go do a renovation or they buy something and they go, why the hell did we go down this path? And is this ever going to end?
Have you hit that point yet?
No, I certainly. It's certainly costing way more than I thought. And I'm a pretty conservative person, so that definitely is going to be an issue at some point. But I am loving it. It's exciting because this will be the first house I've ever built, and doing it with a partner, with Beck, and putting both the things that we love into it is exciting. So I think it's also so far away. It's still another 2 years to go.
At least.
They set the expectations. So you guys, I know I'm coming back around, particularly if the 100 keeps having 2 weeks season.
Exactly.
Check in with me again on that one. Perhaps
we're loving the progress. It gives you something to think about other than Carlton though as well.
I wanted to ask you about that.
How are you doing? It was rough.
I was in Brisbane, so I couldn't even turn off the telly or throw that's the appropriate music. Thank you for that. That's helpful. I feel like I'm now in a safe space.
You are.
Second quarter, 60-0.
Yeah, and a lot of people were saying, as Carlton supporters, did you leave early? And my team hadn't even rocked up by then. So I had
You
to stick
couldn't
around.
leave till they got there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So I had to stick around and at least wait for them to arrive. And we were 10 goals down by then. It was a very sombre flight home. I, like a lot of Carlton supporters, said, let's just get out of Brisbane and rebook my flight late at night to the 7 a.m. And a lot of scrunched up scarves and just quietness. And it was like a funeral procession down that middle aisle of the plane.
Oh, and who will you follow then? Will you get caught up with somebody
do you
else?
jump on another bandwagon?
Yeah, probably not a popular one for everyone, but I've got all my cousins down in Geelong, and and I know they've had a lot of success in the past, but I'm also just astounded that they keep fronting up and keep doing it again. So that's probably the team that I like the most.
Chris Scott, unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Good on you, Andy.
Thank you, guys.
Love
as
your work,
always.
everybody. Check out the 100 tomorrow night after the block on Channel 9 and 9 now. Stay
See you,
strong.
legends.
Stay strong.
See you, man.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
In the studio right now, a couple of uniforms. We've got the US Navy's Lieutenant Commander Tyler Brown and Royal Australian Navy's Lieutenant Joseph Melbourne here with us. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning,
They're in the
guys.
full kit. They look the part.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Tyler, I'll start with you, mate. We know that the AUKUS deal, of course, is a big deal between Australia, the US and the British, but the submarine's been in town here in WA and looking at doing some maintenance stuff. We're just trying to learn off you. That's right, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can thankfully say now all the work is done. So we got here a couple of weeks ago. The boat pulled up, and basically we're here to demonstrate the ability to do what we call eye-level maintenance, intermediate-level maintenance on a
So what's that, grease and oil change? Is it?
Yeah, kind of.
Scrape the barnacles off?
Yeah, right. And what we talk about, one of my bosses, he just left, as the fleet maintenance activity on a submarine tender as opposed to a shore-based shipyard, we call it kind of like your buddy's garage. You can bring your car over, you have sailors working on the submarine.
Yeah.
We'll provide the tools, we'll provide the work, and you just pull up and we'll do some work on you.
Yeah, beautiful. Joe, is this right in your wheelhouse?
Yeah, it is. So my background is marine engineer, and so normally what I'd be doing day to day is working out of our equivalent of fleet maintenance activity, which is called Fleet Support Unit. And so what we did was we just took a bunch of technical sailors, so electricians, mechanics and the like, and we went over to Guam for a couple months and basically learnt off these gents and had a swimming time.
So did you just leave school, Joseph, here in this? Are you from, whereabouts are you from, first of all? The East Coast?
East Coast originally, southeast Queensland, grew up on a farm, but the team's a national team. We've got guys out of WA, some from Darwin, some from Cairns, some from down in Sydney, so we've really pulled everyone together to basically put the team together.
And you only work on submarines?
No, we work on all platforms, so we've got a couple Submariners, we've got surface guys. It's basically anything that needs fixing, just like the tenders. If you pull up, we'll give you a hand.
Tyler, what was your background before you jumped into the Navy?
So I joined right out of high school.
Yeah?
I joined and enlisted in the nuclear propulsion program. So
I mean, it sounds cool.
I guess why?
Why?
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to college.
Yeah.
So I knew I felt like I was at the point where I'm either going to go to college and probably
incur a debt,
do some things that probably wouldn't make my parents happy, or
Sure.
I've got a family history in the Navy as well. My grandfather was in the Navy, and growing up hearing those stories, that was always something in my mind. So,
and why the nuclear propulsion unit? What? It sounds cool.
As a matter of fact, I actually joined or went to the recruiter to join as a medic.
Yeah.
And you take an aptitude exam, and and so I tested well, and they're like, hey, we've got this shiny, nice, because
we don't want to waste these talents on being a medic.
Yeah, sometimes they have trouble recruiting people into certain programs. And I believe actually the recruiters kind of get like bonus points for bringing nukes in versus other. So they dangle this thing in front of me, and they're like, hey, and if you don't like it, you can always switch.
Yeah.
Biggest lie ever told to me.
Once you're in, you can't get out.
Well, once you're in under a certain program, you can't just be like, oh, I don't like this, I want to go back to being a medic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
you're committed.
It was, but no regrets.
Yeah.
Looking back, I just hit 21 years about a week and a half ago, and probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
Do you get a degree? Have you got a degree in something?
So-
I'll ask you, Joseph, in a second.
Without getting too into the weeds, we have the equivalency of credits based off of the schooling that we've achieved.
Yep.
I don't have a degree per se to my name.
Yep.
So I 12 years enlisted, and then the RAN calls it changeover.
Yeah.
So I got picked up as a limited duty officer. But no degree yet.
But yeah, you've got
But
all
I
the,
mean, you don't
all the
really
credits.
need
You don't
one,
need
really.
it.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that you said, I don't want to go to college. Let me do the most academically challenging program that's in the USN and see how that goes.
So, Joseph, for you get a degree. What were you studying?
So I did chemical and material engineering, and I was lucky I got picked up for a scholarship through what's called the undergrad scheme. So basically went to University of Queensland, was successful in applying for that scholarship, and then finished the rest of my degree there before joining the Navy full-time. Very similar program exists in the USN. They call it ROTC. But that was basically what I had to do to become a marine engineer. You need to join with an undergraduate degree in engineering, and then they basically keep pumping you full of education as you go. So right now I'm actually studying my master's, and that's basically how we run that system.
Yeah.
It's just continuous professional development.
Oh, so we had Elbow in the other day, the Prime Minister in the other day, and I hadn't personally thought about the armed services myself growing up, but also for my kids. And I ran into a dad who was telling us a story about he's encouraging his son to be able to look at going into the army over here in Australia because of all the other benefits that you get, which is health and looked after,
free
education along the journey. Did you think about that, Tyler, when you were enlisting as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And my grandfather that I grew up more closely with on my dad's side was in the Navy, but my mom's father was in the Marines. And there's something that stuck with me that, because he only did one tour, like a 4-year stint, but he said his time in the Marines was almost an education in and of itself.
Yep.
Just, the people you work with, the things that you get to learn, the things that you get to do. And so just getting that experience in that, I mean, he was massively successul after, and he attributed it all to his time in the Marines.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, I mean, obviously the downside is combat. I mean, I guess there'd be people that would be into that, but the potential is you could go to war. Have you guys seen active duty?
I mean, we have mainly been in a peacetime status, as a force. As far as going to see active duty combat, like on the ground, we in our position in the Navy with what we're doing right now, we wouldn't necessarily see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, going to conflict, even in the capacity that we serve on the ships, it definitely
like
crosses your
supply ships
mind.
and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Have you been in situations, though, you've been close to other nations underwater, that is, and, I don't know, flexing your muscles, so to speak?
Not that I can tell you.
Yes, I'm trying to see. Okay,
Is there like a submarine version of Top Gun?
Do you get claustrophobic?
So, I think about that question a lot, and being on a submarine, you're going down to the submarine in port every single day. It's your normal 9 to 5, if you will, when you're not at sea.
Yep.
So you're just so used to being down there. When you do go to sea, it's just a longer day at work. So it's not really, compressed and cramped, and there's some spots that you have to get to if you drop something in the bilge or you're trying to get into an outboard to fix something. But for the most part, and I was telling Joe when we were down on the boat the other day, bringing back memories, is when you go down a passageway, you have to turn sideways because it's not wide enough for 2 people shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
So it's not like super cramped, but there's still some, kind of tight spaces.
We're particularly invested in the whole submarine thing because there's going to be some submarine maintenance happening here in Perth under the AUKUS deal, and you guys have been over there learning how to do it, and the full bottle now, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. So big trip for a lot of guys. We basically started up in January. I went over a little bit earlier just to set up the mission, set up the team.
Yep, so this was to Guam.
Yeah, correct. So January we all flew over.
Yeah.
There was 37 of us at the start of the mission, and basically halfway through, about May, we got the opportunity to sail back on ESL. So a number volunteered to sail back on ESL, Emery S Land that is, and then the other half opted to stay in Guam on Frank Cable and basically keep
Guam
learning.
it's a bit of a tropical paradise, isn't it? Is it?
Oh, love it. I'd go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we know it's obviously a military base for the US, but also still a beautiful Pacific island.
Yeah, exactly. If you've ever been to like Fiji or Tonga, very similar,
got
very
that vibe.
mountainous. Yeah.
Oh.
So turquoise waters, white sands, really nice.
Tough gig.
Yeah, hard.
Hey, Tyler, I want to ask about the US Army bases like that. I know food and everything is put on, but do you have a McDonald's on there? Do you have...
Yeah, absolutely. So we used to have McDonald's. I think the contract got bought out by Wendy's now.
Oh,
But-
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But each base will typically have a handful of restaurants, nothing major, 5-star dining kind of thing, but
No.
definitely something convenient for people to stop and get some food.
A movie theater?
Yeah, on base we do. Yep. So the living conditions on base, typically for the Navy, at least in the ports that I've been to, you've got your gym,
Yep.
your movie theater. We have a Navy exchange. It's kind of like a department store, a
Yeah.
grocery store. So they really try to make it for the people that have families out there and are living there as comfortable as possible.
Yeah.
So there's a school for the kids and everything?
There
That's
is.
all laid on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. So my kids go to the Department of Defense. It's DODEA, Department of Defense Education, something. But yeah, it's a good school that they're in, and so yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
Real
Yeah.
close to home, base houses and everything.
Yeah, so they fly in teachers and everything from the States?
I think some of them end up being like some of the spouses.
they're just spouses,
yeah, and then
yeah.
there's some that I think are locals that are brought in, depending on, because we have those types of schools across the world where we
Yes.
have bases. So Korea, Germany, and, Guam.
Shaquille O'Neal grew up in an Air Force base like that in Germany.
Really?
Yeah, and he was educated on site because his dad was like a commander of some sorts. Yeah,
Nice. I didn't know that.
Shack Attack.
Would have been a
Yeah.
reasonable recruit to the local base.
Oh, he dominated. Yeah, he dominated.
Absolutely.
Now, guys, we have a special, what we call a personality. We're going straight to the top here. At Channel 7 newsreader. She holds the world record for continual news reading, essentially, over, how many years is it, Susanna? 38 years or something now?
It's 40 in January.
Oh, my God, I'm sorry.
But
Wow.
who's counting?
This is the
Shot
one and only
changed.
Susanna Carr. And we know one thing about you, Susanna Carr, and that is that you love submarines, correct?
I absolutely love them. And actually hearing Tyler speak, I sort of realised now my dad was a Marine as well, a Royal Marine. So maybe my whole background was based around ships and sea and things like that. But there's this fascination with submarines forever and submarine movies. And
Yeah.
we all get to go on boats and planes, but most of us never get to go on a submarine. So there's this incredible mystique that you guys live every day. And you're making it sound so normal, but to us it's so... other than normal, it's completely otherworldly. The fact that your working day is at the bottom of the ocean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How do you feel when does it ever occur to you? Hey, I'm a couple of miles below the surface of the ocean. Does that ever actually? Are you just working away, or do you actually suddenly think, "Oh my God, where am I?"
Yeah, no, definitely. There's the aspect of because sometimes I would think about the size of the building that could be between me and the surface.
Yes.
And,
Because I asked you how deep you go, and you said, I can't tell you.
That's
'Cause
correct.
That's a secret.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
One thing we do need to ask you is how accurate are submarine movies?
It's funny when the tone came on, because actually just yesterday morning before leaving the ship, we have movies that are playing on the theater, and The Hunt for the Red October was on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
give me one ping only. And so,
So
but-
is that accurate? Is it an accurate
so-
depiction of life in a submarine?
There are movies that are more accurate than others. Das Boot is a German film
Yes.
from the 80s. That's
Yeah.
really accurate for the World War II type era submarines. But yeah, there are definitely some movies that are much more dramatized than others. It's hard to really talk about too much.
Yes.
But what I was going to say, and you might get a kick out of this, is on my submarine, we were... So submarines routinely go to periscope depth for various reasons. And the deeper you go, the pressure from the ocean is compressing the hull.
Yes.
And it actually affects the size of the hull to some degree. So one thing that we would do, for family members that are on rides, we can tie a string from one side of the submarine to the other
Yeah.
when we're up top. And then you go down deep and you can see the droop in the string.
Wow. It
And so,
compresses that much.
and so we routinely clean on the submarine, and we had this one time a sailor had to get between the deck frame and go underneath into the bilge to do some cleaning when we were up near the surface. And then just routine operations, we ended up going deeper. And we got a call up in the controlling station. And he said, which is not typical for the engine room to request a change in ship's depth. So we had to call up to the controlling station and request a shallower depth. And when they asked why, we had to say because one of our sailors was stuck in the bilge.
Oh, he couldn't get out.
He couldn't get back out. And so
you squeezed him in there.
We did.
And it feels like the walls are closing in because the walls are closing in.
And I mean, he was safe. It wasn't anything like he wasn't in any kind of danger. It was just that the gap that he had slid through was no longer the same size because we were slightly compressed from the.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always funny when.
We do hear creaking noises, but we understand why they are occurring. And
Giant squid? You see it?
Yes.
That's actually... Is that a thing? It's funny you brought that up. One of the questions that we get a lot is, what do you see outside the windows? But we don't have windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you, if there was something out there, you wouldn't know?
Correct. No internet down there, no windows, no phone calls. So that's one of the things I was actually going to say is being on a submarine, you're down in your own world, and it's kind of relaxing sometimes because you don't have to worry about what's going on in the news.
There's literally nothing external because you don't know about it. And what's the longest you've been down there for?
The longest I've been down is 58 days.
What?
Without coming up, yeah. So we
58 days.
We left Hawaii in 2011, and then we pulled into Saipan for our first port call. Yeah. In 58 days. Some of them stay longer if they need to. It depends on the mission. We have what we call on the fast tax. We have a 90-day load list, so theoretically we could be out there for 90 days. But it just depends on what the mission is, what's going on in the world, and what you need to do.
Yeah.
Susanna, how do you feel about staying underwater for that amount of time?
Oh, look, maybe overnight would be fine.
Yeah, I reckon it'd wear off pretty quickly, wouldn't it?
Susanna, have you been on a submarine, any that have come into port here?
I haven't. My greatest wish, I would so love to go on a submarine.
Gee, we've got to make that happen.
I've been on a dry land one that's down at Fremantle. It really doesn't count.
Well, I hear the RAN is looking for candidates.
Yeah.
We're always recruiting. Don't worry about that.
So you'd be up for that. Sick of reading the news, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, look, a career change is always on the card.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you guys.
And
thanks, Susanna, for joining us. Thanks for coming in. Cool. It's been an absolute joy having you in. We do have a lot more questions, but
thanks, Joe.
Got to go.
Thanks,
and Tyler's done this on his day off too, by the way, so we appreciate that very much. Thank you.
It's an honour. Thank you.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
The main thing over the weekend, mate, if you look at Instagram and everyone's feeds these days, and what I experienced...
Facebook was full of it, of junior football wins, and netball too, but
There was netball finals, so a lot of netball finals. Their grand final, I think it must be
coming up this weekend. Yeah.
But for the amateur finals on the weekend, there was A grade, B grade finals, all played across the state, and there was victors left, right and centre. And what I noticed, a lot of the stories that I was told, including my son's story, Lachlan, his team, North Fremantle, congratulations to the boys there, they were taking on Whitfords, and Whitfords had gone through a season of being undefeated. Not losing a game.
You made this call to me. You told me that, if they could make it to the grand final, they were better than half a chance because... It's the classic tale of the team going undefeated, getting a little bit complacent perhaps. They'd rolled them in a semi-final, presumably, like 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And so then they're like, oh, we're home and hosed, and then they get rolled in the grand final. It happens all the time.
All the time. And one of the other things to do with that, Nat, I was thinking about it, the poor Whitford guides had only played a game like 4 weeks, so because they get the first week bye, then they play and win, and then they're back into a bye, and then they're into grand final. So you always, from a dream point of view, you go through the season undefeated and get to the grand final. Of course, you win the grand final. But too many times you hear it the other way around.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
I saw the North Fremantle boys celebrating yesterday. So the game was on Saturday, but they had a big celebration yesterday just across the road from where I walk the dog. Those boys were going off. They decided at one point that a whole bunch of them would go down onto the oval, which is across the road, and then the others were hitting golf balls over the road and they were trying to catch it.
That'd be part of a skull game, I'm no doubt.
My car's parked in the car park. If anybody messes up these shots, I'm in trouble.
Well, I want to hear from people who were on the
hard luck stories.
Yeah, because there's so many, and
losing by a point.
You're losing by a point.
Kick after the siren.
kick after the siren, winning every game throughout the season. I mean, you're the best team in the comp if you win every game.
Yeah, or you got injured and couldn't play in the grand final.
Oh, that's got to hurt. That's got to hurt in a big way.
Natanui. Jared, hello.
How you going?
Hey, Jared.
Jared.
Good, mate.
We're up for a hard luck tale. What have you got for us?
I've got 4 daughters, and one of them played in one grand final, and they had played brilliant all year. And they lost 3 players, and one player went down in the first half, and they got annihilated. and they were on top all year. And then my other 2 daughters, they had their first grand final ever, same sort of grade. And my fiance is manager of the team. Brilliant season.
Yep.
And then one of my daughters went sick on Thursday, and she's been in hospital since, and she wasn't able to play the grand final. Or my fiance wasn't able
couldn't manage
to manage it either, and they won.
They weren't a part of it.
Oh no,
they couldn't. And they're still in hospital now. We're on the way to the hospital now to
Jared.
check in on them.
Oh, Jared. Yeah,
that's a
stinker.
devastating tale all round.
Yes, we've had better weeks, put it that way.
Yeah, what sport was it?
Football.
Yeah, it was footy. Yeah, right.
Girls.
The girls' footy's going off.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's absolutely heaving these days. Oh, that's disappointing,
that's a tragic
Jared.
tale all round. Amazing. Thanks, Jared. Vicky's in Aluka. Hello.
Hi, guys. Apologies for the croaky voice, but it's been a big weekend.
You were screaming your box off, literally, Vicky?
Literally. Our first son is played in the Swannies and, West Perth Colts grand final on Saturday.
Yep.
And the last 2 minutes, couple of questionable frees were paid.
Yes.
And, Swannies came through and beat us by 5 points.
Oh, no.
As a Swannies girl, I'm up and about this. Yeah.
No, I'm West Perth, obviously. And then my other son was in the Grandy yesterday, but he broke his collarbone fell off his bike, so he missed out on playing yesterday as well.
Oh, no, Vicky.
Did they win?
And then just to top it off, no, they didn't. No runners up. And then to top it off, I'm a Carlton supporter, so we don't need to talk about it.
Oh, you've had a dirty weekend, Vic. Absolutely filthy.
That's a terrible weekend. It couldn't get any worse.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm sorry for all of your losses. Thanks, Vic. Lucas, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, good Lucas.
Okay, talk us through your horror run. What happened?
Yeah, there was quite a few years ago when I was still playing rugby back in South Africa.
Yeah.
We made it. We had to win the last game of the regular season to make it into the semis.
Yep.
Yes.
We scraped in there. We scraped through the semis. We made it. Well, we made it into the finals.
Yeah.
Just before halftime, we were still just behind.
Yeah.
I got a head knock, got concussed, got taken off. I cannot remember the rest of it. And we won the game.
Yeah.
We went to have a party, celebrate, and I didn't know anything other than the next day when I woke up and my girlfriend told me that we actually won the final.
Oh, and you missed it all.
I have
memory's all
no
gone.
recollection of that second half and the winning the cup.
And I'd just like to point out that while you were on, they were losing, and then you got knocked out, taken off, and then they won. Is that
Yes.
an accurate assessment of what happened?
Yeah.
Join the dots there, Lucas.
and that was the first time that club won the competition in, I think, over 20 years or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You want to be a part of those ones,
That's
Lucas.
your son, it was with 21
years.
Yeah, that's amazing,
You
isn't it?
need to be a part of those,
So he was a baby last time his club won.
Oh, exactly. I didn't think about that.
How's that? Good on you, Lucas. Thanks, buddy.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.